really get the lighting a little bit more in my room.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Whole Story. I am your host, Jonathan Hull, along with my man, the handsome, the talented, the forever
Okay.
hating Lance
All right.
Stroll man, Alex Perez, and welcome to our recap of the Japanese Grand Prix. We are so excited to be here. Man, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Anthony, if you're listening, I hope you're so proud. Let's go, baby.
John, if you ever do this again, I'm leaving the show for good.
I had that queued up in my mind since our talk last week. Not that anyone watches this show ever, but if this is your first time, that is not how we do things normally around here. We got some feedback that we started off dull, and like we said last week,
I,
you guys
listen, I
don't know.
think we sound professional.
We have technical issues too most of the time. We've just started having technical free days. So we usually start 10 minutes late after problems and headaches. So, no, welcome to the show, though. Seriously, it was a good Japanese Grand Prix, in my opinion. And that's what we're here to do today, to recap it. Alex, what'd you think of the race weekend?
Let's get it right out the way. I didn't stay up and watch any of this live.
That's okay.
I think I caught free practice 3 because I think it was like 10 o'clock at night
Yeah.
or 10:30 on Friday night. Saturday morning I think was qualifying at like 2 a.m. for us or something like that.
Yep.
Um, I remember Saturday night I went to bed a little early to try to catch the race live, and I ended up waking up at 3 a.m. So I missed the entire thing, or 3:30 I think I woke up. But yeah, for the overall weekend it was pretty okay. It was pretty good. I'll give it a solid like 7.5 out
Okay.
of 10.
7.5 out of 10. I like it. I like it. Yeah, for us on the East Coast, 2 a.m. qualifying. I also did not catch that live either. The race, I did stay up 1 o'clock live. There was the Pro Motocross Championship was on the final round. That started at
Mm.
10 because they were at the Los Angeles Coliseum, and I kind of watched
How long
that.
do those go on for? An hour, hour and a half?
Well, this one started at 10, 11, 12. This was like 3 hours. This was their finale. I watched
They
that
do
and
a
played.
three. How many laps are they?
Yeah, there's a 250 class and a 450 class,
Oh, okay, the two different classes. Gotcha, gotcha,
and they
gotcha. That
did
makes more
each
sense.
did two motos at 20 minutes each. So 20, 40, 60, 80 minutes they
Gotcha.
were on the track with in between time. So I watched that right up to 12:30, 12:40. Then I turned on the pre-race. Um,
I should start watching that.
yeah, no, it was cool stuff, for sure. But man, we are prepared today. We have some new slides for you guys, and it's gonna be a good show today. So,
A lot of
man,
drama.
going
A lot of
going right
drama.
off right off. No, nothing that Ryan did,
No,
unfortunately. But
no, no. I'm saying a lot of drama during the race. Just a lot of
oh,
like little like team drama and stuff like that. A lot of drama this weekend.
yeah, yeah, it was get out your tea. There's drama for sure. But
Yeah.
man, I to get right off the bat, I know you are. If you're new to the show, Alex is our livery specialist. He comments on all things that goes on with that. And I know this isn't it's a livery, it's a helmet, but Lewis's helmet. What do we think?
I thought it was sick.
Yeah,
I
buddy,
thought it
me
was
too.
super sick. Like especially the pictures when they
Yeah.
originally came out, like the Tron looking thing it had going. I thought
Yes.
it was awesome.
If we are rating it out of 10, what are we giving it?
11.
Ooh, 11. Okay, I like it. And then the one other note I had in here is that I don't know what this weekend reminded me of. 2021, Red Bull pulled out the special Honda livery for Suzuka,
The
but
white and red, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
but it got Japanese Grand Prix got canceled because of COVID, so they pulled it out in
Mm,
at the Turkish Grand Prix.
something
Man,
like that. Yeah.
would that livery not have hit home though at Suzuka?
Yeah, they probably should have done it. I'm surprised the Red Bull doesn't do too many liveries. They do. They're
No,
usually pretty okay. But I wasn't a fan of that white and red on the Red Bull. Um,
really.
no, yeah, it was okay. I don't know something. I have a love hate relationship with Red Bull's livery. It's kind of like basic, but it's like clean at the same time.
Yep.
It's but yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it. I know some of the libraries they have put out are pretty cool. Like, I remember one year they had like a whole camo one. That was pretty sick.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, I remember. Yeah, that would have been cool to come out with that. At least maybe AlphaTauri. Super. I could they come out with that instead
Oh
because of
yeah.
Yuki.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. I know. I thought that white and red would have hit home pretty well in Japan there. Um, but that's just something that hit my mind. Man, we had a lot of stuff that happened here before we started the race. Do you see Seb's B project in turn two?
That was cool. The yellow and black, all the bees laying out and stuff like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, all the drivers came and it got to kind of like, I guess, decorate their own beehives or whatever they were building for
hmm
him. It looked like Seb was pretty sad though to not be out there. I think he even made a comment. It was tough
Yeah,
to
I
watch
said,
the cars.
like I said, there was a lot of drama this weekend, and Seb teasing like he wants to come back. I don't see a spot on the grid for him right now, unless Andretti gets his seat. But yeah, I think we all saw that coming. He teased it already before leaving in general. With Alonso, I think he mentioned it. But yeah, it was good to see Seb though. It was good to see Seb.
Uh, yeah, absolutely. Man, it's just got to be tough when you love racing and then you try to come back and just hang out and you start missing it more. Driver news. There's some stuff we get to talk about. AlphaTauri finally confirmed their driver lineup for 2024. You will be watching Yuki Tsunoda back in his seat and Daniel Ricciardo, like we pretty much expected, full time in that ride. So what does that do for the rest of the grid? It leaves one open seat at Williams. The general speculation was that Liam Lawson would be pushing for that seat. I read some comments. Horner does not believe that Williams would want Lawson because they would only have him for 1 year. So, what do they? What does Williams do? Are they bringing back Sargent? Are they
I
bringing in someone
during
else?
Yeah, during I think it was free practice. I think it was a free practice that I was watching. I remember one of the commentators was along the lines that they were going to hang on to Sargent. They do want to give him a chance. He's having a rookie year, and they know it's a lot to learn. And obviously, that Williams is very hard to handle. Albon is doing a great job in the car, so it's hard to compare the teammates. I I think they should go after Liam Lawson. I don't think they will. I think they're going to hang on to Sargent. Getting an American driver, keeping him on the grid is a big thing with them. See what happens going forward. But I also did hear that with Liam Lawson, see that he might usurp. I think that's the right word I'm using here. Danny Rick for that 2025 Red Bull seat.
Yeah, I mean the way Horner spoke, you only get 1 year with him. I feel like that's a clear cut sign that they have plans for Lawson in the future. I know they're going to keep him on as their reserve driver and simulator guy, but I think there's
He
some
doesn't
writing
want that, but yeah,
there's some writing on the wall here that I mean, in my opinion, probably Perez is gone at the end of next year. Lawson is either jumping up to the A team, they're bringing up Danny Rick or Yuki, and Lawson's jumping in that AlphaTauri. That's just speculation, but that's
I
kind of
mean,
what the.
like the guy couldn't have done any better for that team, though. He jumped into a rocky situation at best, a car that wasn't performing well. I know they looked good this weekend. I think they both made it into Q3 or close to, if I remember right.
Yep, very close.
They and then he scored some big points for the team. I think he scored the most points in a weekend for the team so far.
Yep.
And he couldn't have been put in a worse situation to fail, and they just comes out big. Now, I don't want to jump the gun because we don't obviously want to, a Nick DeVries situation going on, but Liam Lawson does have the talent. I think he's definitely capable of competing in F1.
Yeah.
And it's it's just yeah, I can't word this right, but anyways, it's just a rocky situation. Like you have 20 drivers that can fit the grid. There's only so many spots available, and obviously you don't want Danny Rick out the seat, but I think he deserves it more than Danny Rick. And I hate to
Yeah.
be that guy because I love Danny Rick.
No, I'm gonna say that's probably an unpopular opinion because of people's love for Danny Rick, but the way that Liam Lawson has performed, you're talking performance, factual based, and it'd be hard to argue against you there because of how good he's been doing. So, yeah, that's what's going on there. Man, this just came across my feed, and I did some research this week because I couldn't believe it. And apparently, we missed this quote last month. And I know this is your favorite topic. Aston Martin said that there is no gap in performance between the two drivers, only a gap in points, and that they're cited bad strategy and reliability for Lance Stroll, but that again, no gap in performance, just gap in points. Like, are you
Um,
serious? Are they delusional over there?
no, they definitely are. They definitely try to cover for Lance Stroll. I mean, that's just the the gifts you get, I guess, when your father's the owner of the team. Because anybody in the mother knows that Lance Stroll doesn't deserve that seat. Um, I don't think he's a horrible driver. I don't think he should be in that seat. The situation is, I think he should be racing for like F2 or at Formula E or Williams at best. Which he did race for Williams for a little bit, right?
Yep.
Or
Yeah, that's where he
he did,
started.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, he's just not. I mean, like, there's a big gap in the points. Fernando towards the beginning of the season was catching podium after podium after podium, top five finishes all around. And now I know that Aston Martin is struggling, and it seems I don't think it's more or less that Aston Martin struggling. I think these cars have caught up, like McLaren, Ferraris finally seem that they're starting to get their stuff together. Mercedes seems to even be falling back a little. But I you can't have that big a difference in team points. I'm sorry, and Lance Stroll is he's doing a horrible job, and I know he's been put in a situation where he's going against two-time champion, a great driver. Um, he also did break his hand at the beginning of the season, so I want to give him the benefit of the doubt with that. That could be
And
affecting more than we know.
and the concussion
And then he
last
had
week.
the
Yeah, or
concussion
a
last
crazy
week was
crash.
definitely
Yeah.
the crazy crash. But like you're out to perform, and you have 20 jobs. There's 20 jobs available in that F1 driver seat, and if you don't perform, then you don't deserve to be there. And I get it, you're a pay driver, and some of the other guys on the grid are pay drivers, but at least these pay drivers look decent and competent enough for the car.
Yeah. Totally agree. I just knew when I saw that it would piss you off, so I had to bring it up. Uh, Other contract news too. Not that it says a change in team here, but
Quality show.
Oscar extends his contract to the end of
Yep.
2026. Zach Brown with the jokes that he's glad he got it done before Oscar's great weekend because the price would have gone up a little bit. But man, they're locked into two young drivers, and if I was a McLaren fan, I'd be pretty happy of the future going forward. So
Definitely happy with the future going forward. Though I will say, I feel like Oscar gets shafted a little bit because the upgrades always go on Lando Norris's car first.
that's
And
true.
so like he always gets like the faster weekends and stuff. Because Oscar could have had the same weekend that Lando had last weekend had he not. Well, he also got into like he got skewed at Q3,
Yeah.
screwed in Q3 that last weekend, but or Q1, sorry. But yeah, he definitely could have had a few more podiums if it wasn't for like just team orders and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, no doubt. And then just to wrap it up here, a couple things they had going on. Like you just said, McLaren, they brought upgrades to the track last week, just like you said.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really feel like they got to show the upgrades and learn on them and expand them on that street circuit. So this was a good chance both cars had it this week, and it really showed its pace pretty much right off the rip. Man, some interesting stuff. I was watching some replays. They had turf like material set up around the track. Um, so a
I
lot
did
of
not.
grass, but in like the final chicane and out of Degna 2, there's like bright green that I just thought was grass, but it was is like turf. When the tires got on it, it like folded
I
up.
didn't know
So
that. I
yeah,
did not know that.
it's a little interesting. I thought it was all grass.
I
I wonder what that did with the handling as those guys were going off on it.
I think it was very interesting that they were every single corner has a name there.
Oh yeah,
Every single one of them, which I think is hilarious.
it's funny because I watch and I'm like, damn, I got to show. Like, should I learn all
It's
these
hard, it was
turns?
hard. I did like I don't keep track of any of the names. Like kudos to you because I can't do it. There was a lot. I think every single turn had a name. I
Yeah,
was like the only one I remember that stuck out to me was the 120 RR and the triangle.
yeah. So one is there a
130 R. I think it's
130
130
R?
R or
Yeah,
120. Yeah, it's the
yeah.
radius of the turn, which is interesting.
But there's 130 R, but there's another R turn at that
I
track.
think it's
There's
120.
yeah,
I think it's 120.
it's one some. Yeah, you're not wrong. The turn that everyone was going off, that was Degna 2. That's where they go underneath the other part
Mm-hmm.
of the track. Before that is Degna 1. And I took those couple names and I said, let's start there. But it's like Silver. You go to Silverstone too. You got the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight, and it doesn't
Yeah.
end. You go to Spa, same thing. And I'm like, am I not a true fan if I don't know all these names? But I'm sure
I,
over the years, I don't know. I try, but you're not wrong. Every turn has a name. So, and then the last thing before we get jump into practice here, they had some new cameras on the cars this week, I believe.
yeah, that was yeah, that was
Yeah,
awesome. I thought it looked really sick right over the stick right on the outside of the halo.
yeah, and they got gimbals in them, which
Hmm.
keep everything nice and level. and they switched to it a few times as I was on Lewis Hamilton's onboard. It was pretty good. Um, just up in that experience here. So as we get into practice here, Alex only caught a little bit. I don't think I watched much, if any, because it was just not conducive to our hours over here. I got Red Bull jumped right back to the top of the charts in FP1.
That's
Um,
an understatement.
yeah, they really put that the technical um, direction that came out last week that
Yeah,
their
Max
cars
is
were no good. They really put that to bed right away. Um, did you see Lando Norris getting his high vis on Carlos Sainz?
no,
Yeah,
I did
so
not see that.
coming out of the pits, Carlos was behind Lando, and that green paint that splashes on the car so they know where the air is flowing went into
Yeah,
Sainz's like car pretty bad. They showed some videos of him like wiping it off of his helmet and wiping his face, which is crazy because they use that stuff all the time, and this is like the first that
yeah.
I've ever heard about
I
it. So
didn't know it was like I thought it was almost like an instant drying kind of thing. That's
yeah,
crazy that it
yeah.
just
Well,
came off like that.
it happened in pit. I think that a lot of that air, the high flow viz, I should learn more about it, but I think a lot of that happens almost as soon as they come out because they're still going. Where are they going? They're going 30, 40 in the pits, right? Whatever they're
Something like
going.
that.
I
Yeah, I
don't
think
know the
it's 60
kilometer
km. I know it's
conversion.
a lot. Yeah, it's about
Yeah.
like 30,
Yeah, it's 60 to
35.
80K. I don't know the
Yeah.
conversion. But I think it initially goes on there and then like you said, I think it drives pretty quick, but he just happened to be behind him in the pits. They also had a new C2 tire test this week. So if you ever turn on a practice session and they have tires with not a red, yellow, or white, or blue or green for rain tire stripes on the side, usually all black, they're testing out tires. And then Gasly wrecked it in FP2, which caused them to, go to work and try to fix that. But that's all I got. You got anything else from practice?
No, I think of.
All right. Well, that's practice, and we'll jump to quali here. Felt like quali was not. I don't think there was a lot of drama in the terms of impeding. We didn't have to. There was.
No, they did a pretty good job of that this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Joe Gwynn,
Um.
you commented on some impeding, but I was never. They never showed a clip of it. Um, so pretty much Q1, the exciting, not exciting, but the big thing that happened was Sargent wrecked coming out of the last corner. Man, he was doing good not wrecking stuff, and after he is on
He
a
actually
tear.
looked pretty good too. I want to say he was during FP3 too. I forget now that I mentioned it. I think he had a better time than Albon.
Yeah,
So
he's
rough weekend.
he's shown some weird little glitzes of pace, but also shown some. So yeah, it's like the Mick Schumacher at Haas thing. Mick showed some pace, but just was wrecking way too many cars. And Logan's kind of looking like he's going down the same road. So, but our first 5 eliminated out of Q1. Sargent qualifies 20th. Joe Guanyu qualifies 19th. Hulkenberg 18th. Stroll 17th. And Bottas 16th. Again, the Bottas, Hulkenberg, Joe Guanyu doesn't shock me. Sargent doesn't shock me. But how are you going to say there's no gap in performance when Lance Stroll's going out in 17th place?
Yeah.
What? Like, I don't get it.
I mean, you got to be realistic here, man.
You do. You absolutely do. That's Q1. Q2, we have Magnussen 15th, Alpine's Ocon in 14th, Albon 13th, Gasly 12th, and Liam Lawson in the impressive 11th place quali. Did you watch all quali?
I did. I went back and watched it eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know if you agree, I feel like they messed up Lawson's strategy in Q1. I think they ran him an extra time on new tires. So that
I think they
affect.
were trying to. I think they weren't comfortable entirely with getting into Q2 and Q3, so they were just trying to put out the best possible scenario they could. They just tried to get in, but yeah, I agree with you. It did end up hurting in the long term to not get a new set of tires because I think he ran through all of them by the time Q2
Yeah.
started.
Yeah, they made some comment that, Lawson made some comment similar to what you're saying. They weren't comfortable, so they put him out an extra time in Q1, I think. But it kind of messed up his chances in Q2. And 11th place, not bad with a messed up strategy. You gotta take it. So, and then Q3, I mean, pretty standard. A lot of those guys came out and put in banker laps that kind of kept them in this in similar positions. We had Alonso in 10th place, Yuki Tsunoda in ninth, Russell 8th, Hamilton 7th, Sainz 6th, Perez 5th, Leclerc 4th, Norris 3rd, Piastri with his, I believe, first front row start in second, and then Max Verstappen P1.
Insane gap at P1.
Man, 5 tenths at a track like Suzuka might as well be a mile and a half.
Dude, I think the gap was insane. Like even if you go to down the top 10, I think it was over 1 second, like
Oh
one and
yeah,
a half. It was
yep,
insane.
yeah. Um, easily dropping these guys like flies behind them.
I mean,
Um,
it's like if you're not a racer, like that 1 second gap doesn't seem like much, but like you gotta just do the simple math and add it up. That adds up lap after lap after lap. Especially with a team like Red Bull, who has arguably the best pit team. Well, not even arguably, they do have the best pit team. Like they're just gonna gap you like crazy.
yeah, I mean, quick math. If the race was what 50, was it 53 laps or 60?
54. I think it was 54.
54 laps. You're losing a second a lap. You're losing 54 seconds, and I'm almost positive the fast time
You're
was
gonna
around
lose.
a minute 29. So you're almost getting lapped, and that's if you start in second place and lose a second a lap. Which
Yeah. So if you so you're in P20. If you're losing like I think it was almost 2 seconds. I think it was like 1.8 or something like that. It's like they're getting lapped easily.
yeah,
It's insane.
yeah,
Like
there's me and Alex are not smart enough to describe to you guys how much 5 tenths, how much a second is over one
no,
lap at a track like
I
this.
saw a picture. I saw a picture, and they showed the Ferraris and the McLarens behind Max, like where they would be if they were running the
Yeah,
lap, and you would just see them like car by car by car, and it was like 50 yards back was like Piastri, 100 yards back was with Norris, like
yeah,
200 yard backs with the Ferraris. It was insane.
yeah. That was I saw the same thing. That
The
was a great
Ferraris weren't
graphic.
even around the corner, and the Mercedes weren't even around the corner yet.
Yeah. Oh, that's. I mean, you didn't need to do that. That was kind of rude. But yeah. So we'll recap the race here. It was kind of nice in the sense that there's no grid penalties to mess up. No grid penalties to mess things up. Everyone pretty much stayed where they were. My laptop's acting up
Before
here.
we jump into the race,
Ooh,
the
what do we got?
FIA did come and say that Max should have been penalized in the previous race in Singapore. And obviously, every driver and their mother had something to say. And obviously, the Lewis Hamilton fans were all out, but it wasn't just Lewis fans, the Ferrari fans, McLaren fans. Like a lot of fans were upset with how that race went down. So, uh, yeah,
Yeah, you're. I'm trying to figure out why the YouTube chat's not showing up. But Hamilton made a comment something about they maybe need to use AI or something. See how that
I can
works.
agree with that because, like, I know soccer has the VAR, the VAR, whatever the heck it's called,
Hmm.
and I think you could easily implement some AI into F1,
Yeah, I mean
especially with how many cameras they have.
let's test it out in baby steps. Let's try it. See how the race directors feel about it and see how accurate it is, and then go from there. But yeah, to not give Verstappen penalties, and I think there was another driver that they said should have gotten impeding penalties last week too. Um, just not a very good look at all. But man, we got into a race, lights out, and they were off.
Lap one was crazy.
Yeah, it was intense. Oscar got a great start. He said it looked great in the second phase of it, though. Got on the gas a little too hard. Probably was going to wreck him and Max if he would have sent it in there. He backed out. Lando was on the outside, couldn't make the move. And they leave turn two with Max in first, Lando second, Oscar third. Man, behind that, you had, I believe, Hamilton, Sergio, Seitz, and Charles, I think, four wide. Lewis getting
Yeah, it
shoved.
was crazy.
Yeah, Lewis getting shoved wide. I believe who got it? It was Albon, and I believe the Alfa Romeos
I
got into it. Um,
Yeah, but it was like I think there was another three or four wide, and I forgot who it was. I think it was Botas.
yeah, I think he was the Alfa Romeo that got.
Yeah,
Yeah, they had to come in. Safety car after lap one, correct? Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
safety almost immediately after the first few turns.
yeah,
I
I
know
don't think.
Botas came in, changed his front end.
Yep.
Albon did two.
Yeah, they didn't need to get any cars
Yeah,
off the track, but there was so much debris.
yeah.
First lap safety cars always Alonso, Lawson, Sonoda, Alonso, Lawson, Sonoda, Joe Guanyu, Hulkenberg, Stroll, and Bottas all started on to just go a little bit further. What do you think of Sergio Perez overtaking Fernando going into the pits and then getting that penalty? Yeah, I mean, his race didn't last too long, so let's go ahead. We can just start off
Yeah.
talking about him. Um, Gets a penalty for passing Alonso coming into the pits. I believe he serves it, comes back out, blocks up the tires. Who did he run into? Sargent, I believe that was. Was that Albon?
Yeah, I think it was Sargent.
Sargent.
Yeah.
So he
Sargent ran
runs.
into him, right? Or no?
No, no, no. He locked up the tires. A penalty that if you DNF and don't serve your penalty, it is a grid place penalty in the next race. So they fixed to get his car out. They send him out for a lap. I thought they were going to let him just kind of ride around in the back so they could formation it when they won the constructors, but they brought him in. They served the time penalty. He went out and then came back in. So, and it's a rough stretch. He crashing into people last week in Singapore. I mean, it's not changing.
Five? Was it Porsche, right? Or Audi, right? It was Audi.
Oh, is that's the rumors where Carlos is going?
That yeah, I think Carlos is going to Audi. They said like he signed a contract with them already. I think Checo's gonna end up being there. I think he'd be the safe bet to stay there too.
Yeah. Well,
But
I mean, he's
he definitely
talented.
deserves a great spot. But he's just having a rough season with Red Bull. And I feel like Red Bull fans don't appreciate the guy at all either. Like he did a lot for Max to get his championships,
Yeah, he
and
is.
he's
He is.
bitten a lot of bullets.
Yep. Definitely not getting any respect. Nothing to say. There's nothing to talk about there. He smoked the day. Lando Norris P2, Oscar Piastri P3. So a
Team
little bit,
orders.
yeah, a little bit of interesting team orders. Lando was on a different strategy than Oscar. He was coming through with faster tires. At that time, they were worried that George Russell was going to play a part in their race when really he wasn't. George Russell's strategy was just kind of his own thing. But they were nervous at the time. Um, Lando asked to get in front. Thought Oscar was going to let him go into turn one. They didn't. Waited some more time. Eventually, they swap around, no problems. They didn't seem mad after the race. I don't know what you thought.
It was like a 16-second gap or something like that, or 12-second gap or something like that between the two. So Lando was their best shot at like trying to win the race. Not that
Yep.
anybody was ever catching Max unless Max crashed, which is funny. Did you see Charles thought he was going to finish on the podium
Yeah.
because he thought the spinned out Red Bull was Max's.
Yep. But it was just Sergio Perez.
Yeah,
Yep. Going slow. Um, yeah. So I mean, McLaren though. It's funny because I was watching so many things where they keep asking Zach Brown and they keep saying, man, how far you've come, from the beginning of the year, like, and I'm like, man, you think he's getting tired of answering all these questions? But then I thought to myself, it's a lot better than being like, hey, your team was fast at the beginning of the year and now they're going downhill. So, um, man,
no, I don't
we're
think
gonna
he's
go over
tired of answering all the questions. That guy has a weird ego.
who is Zach Brown?
I have a yeah, he's got a weird ego.
Are you a fan of Zach or you're not a fan of Zach?
I like what he's done for McLaren for the most part, but I feel like he's like I don't know. I'm like 50. It's not a love hate relationship, but it's not like it's not like I wouldn't be upset if he like some ends up losing the job somewhere down the road and they get somebody else either. I don't think he's the huge benefactor to why the team's gotten this success lately.
Okay, interesting. Do you know where? Or do you got any opinions on where it's coming from?
The team in general, like the
Yeah, like
success,
if you don't think the success is coming from Zach Brown, where do you think it's coming from?
just the engineering in general. I mean, they got the money, they have the talent. It's always been there. It was just like literally just putting it all together and just staying organized. I think Zach Brown was kind of handed like a pretty good job at McLaren, and he's done well for the most part. But it's like again, I was not happy with how they handled the Danny Rick situation. I wasn't happy with the Danny Rick situation. I also think like the way he poached Oscar from Alpine was also a little. I guess as a team principal, you can appreciate that, but as like a person, it's just like a little schemy, you know.
Yeah. I believe they asked Zach Brown if he would do anything different. Within hello,
Hello.
hello.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you now. What did you say? He said he
He
would do what different?
uh, make the Oscar Piastri move 6 months earlier.
I'm not upset that Danny Rick lost his seat. I'm upset with how they went about it. They didn't give him like any notice, any sort of respect. It was just kind of like behind the scenes, all this stuff. Um, and I guess at the end of the day, drivers do that stuff because Alonso did it. Like he just disappeared from Alpine, decided to go to Aston Martin, and it's a cutthroat business. But it's just like I think a guy like Danny Rick definitely deserves a little bit more respect than how he was treated in McLaren,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
especially for like he's been your last winner in over a decade.
Yeah, he was the last winner. That's true. Um, I don't know. You watched some of those races though, 2017 when Fernando Alonso was screaming that he had no engine power. Zach Brown had that team too with the bad Honda engine. So, I mean,
I
McLaren
just
was
think
it,
McLaren,
and they dropped,
yeah,
and it's you know,
I just think McLaren in general was always bound for a comeback kind of thing. Like they have
yeah,
the money, they have the sponsors, and obviously that plays a big role in the F1. They have the history. Um, it's pretty much like a Williams situation. I know Williams has been looking bad for the past like long time, but Williams has a lack of money. If Williams had the funding that McLaren had, who's to say they're not competing again, kind of thing. And I just
yeah,
think he was put into a good situation to succeed. Plus, even though he was that Honda engine sucked for F1, I'm sorry for the McLaren at the time, he was put into a driver grid that had Alonso, a team that had Fernando Alonso, which is a lot of history, a lot of like knowledge and stuff.
yep, yeah. You're not wrong. That I get what you're saying. That is a bounce back team. You look, reference that to a team like Alfa Romeo, and we're like, they'll probably never be at the front.
Exactly.
Yep. So that's a very good point. We get to our first Ferrari in fourth place. Charles Leclerc probably had the quietest day out of the front runners, I would say. I don't remember them discussing him like at all.
No.
He wasn't close on any undercuts, overcuts. Just a pretty quiet and calm fourth place finish for him. Lewis Hamilton finishes fifth. He had quite the race. Oh man, a little bit of damage in lap one, of course, because I'm a Lewis fan. Man, I think Sergio just ran him wide, clear off the track coming out of two.
Mhm.
Um, got aggressive with George Russell. Russell passes him. He passed Russell back, threw a little block going into one. And then what most people didn't see or hear was the first pit stop cycle, they told Lewis to push. He was about two and change behind Carlos Sainz. He dropped it down to 1.8 pretty quick. And then in the second Degna is when he went off. That's when Russell catches back up to him, is on the outside of him of one of the R turns. That's not 130R. Um,
Yeah.
Man, Lewis ran him clear wide off the track though. That was,
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I mean, when Lewis's all four tires are off the track, that's you don't get much worse running someone off the track than that. So, and if Lewis doesn't mess up and run off that Degna and then waste that time, he probably undercuts Carlos on the first pit stop cycle because they waited an extra lap to pit Ferrari. So that messed up Hamilton's race, and it made the things at Mercedes a little bit sketchy. Lewis admitted it was not his cleanest day, and I think that was
Yeah,
pretty evident.
yeah. I think we're starting to see a little bit of a meter Lewis Hamilton out there. He's kind of sick of, I think, the ramblings of everyone in general.
Mm,
I thought at the end of the race, uh, I don't, I didn't agree with the decision to let Lewis overtake toward what was like the last 2, 3 laps left in the race.
yep.
Like swap the cars. I kind of agree with what George is saying. Just keep them in DRS range. Let them swap at the end, so it gives the Mercedes a team game because Ferrari's catching up and they look quicker right now. So Ferrari could end up being in the constructor championship in a race like what happened in Japan could hurt them because they ended up losing points because George is bound to get overtaken by Carlos eventually, and Lewis almost got overtaken by Carlos too. I think it was like a 3 tenths gap by the end of the race, something like that.
So you think if George would have stayed in front, they and Lewis behind, they would have kept Carlos behind both of them?
I don't know. I can't say for sure. I think it would have helped him. I think it gave him the best chance to finish fifth, sixth
Okay. Yep.
instead of fifth, seventh. I just think it
Yeah.
gave him the best chance. Regardless, Lewis is going to take that position eventually. He might have finished sixth. They might have finished sixth, seventh. They might both got taken off. by Carlos. But I also understand Lewis' perspective. As soon as he passed George, I think he put like a 2 second gap between
He
him and
did.
Carlos, or so like he definitely had the speed. He definitely had the fresher tires. He was definitely in the better strategy and stuff. It was just like for the long run, I just think it didn't benefit Mercedes at all. I think it's going to hurt them in the long run. But I think seeing the side of Lewis, he's hungry.
Yeah.
Like I think for years it seemed like is he going to retire? He's done everything. Now he's hungry. He wants his championship. He was robbed of his eighth championship. He might lose another championship and go down to six with this whole uh Felipe Massa debate going on. Um, the court case going on, anyways, and then he I think he's tired of seeing fans like honestly think that George is the number one driver of Mercedes. That's clearly not the case. If you watch any racing this year, Lewis is dominating him in the race. Yeah, George has outqualified him a few times since the break, but I still think George Lewis is number one driver there, and it's not even a question. Lewis is just one heck of a talent.
Yeah.
He's almost 40 years old and just outplacing all these young guns.
Yeah, absolutely right. Hungry, ready to go. He's not going to lose this championship in court. There's no way.
I don't think so either. I don't
It
think
just,
so either. But I
it's
was
the,
just starting to like
it's the precedent it sets because then Mercedes goes after. Then he just gets his
2021.
seventh back because they go after Abu Dhabi. You have to leave what's in the past in the past. You can't go back and reset things like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, no, I'm with you. All the talk about Russell being as good as Lewis, and you're right. Russell's outqualified him a few times, but race pace, man, Lewis still has it. Um, he's been very vocal that the car
I
is
mean,
not where it needs to be. It probably won't be there next year. It's like he said, it's like driving. He said it's trying to get the setup is like trying to get a knife pointed straight up or trying to stand a knife on its tip. It's hard. Basically the same thing Ferrari was saying. It's hard to get it in that sweet spot. But I mean, fifth place finish for him is not bad. Keeps him third in points. Closes that gap to Perez a little bit. Keeps that fight alive for second in the constructor or in the drivers. But Carlos Sainz in sixth, man. Another about as good of a race for him as it could get. Um, I'm on board with Lewis Hamilton in the second pit stop cycle. Lewis pits first. You think they're going to bring Carlos in the next lap to cover him off? They don't. They tell Lewis that he's not safe to Carlos like by 1.4, and then
mm-hmm.
by the second lap, Lewis is ahead. Sites comes on the radio and goes, "He undercut me." They said, "Yeah," but dude, Ferrari blunders another strategy call. I don't get it. They could have came out five. They could have came out ahead of Lewis, and I don't.
they had a few questionable calls this weekend. Even during qualifying, there was I think it was Q3. They were like the last cars to come out of the grid,
Mm,
and they were really banking on nobody crashing.
yep.
And it's like, did they watch practice at all? That Williams does not like wind. Like
Yep.
it was bound to happen.
The Williams
Like
doesn't
Albon was
like
struggling in the same quarter.
Williams doesn't like wind, turns, straights. It doesn't like anything. It feels like
Bro,
you're right.
it was just like that. They kept on like losing it on that turn where Sargent crashed. Like even Albon was losing it too.
Yep.
But Ferrari really risked like going out in Q1.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. If you watch that, everyone else is out on the track and they're leaving their guys in the pits. Um, yeah, especially with the trouble we've seen too in qualifying, people getting into accidents and people not getting their laps in. Absolutely absurd to play that strategy call, but whatever.
I guess they're trying to save tires. That's the only thing I could have thought of. They're just trying to save their tires for Q2 and Q3.
Yep.
But they really, really risked it. Like there was no like just put a lap in. Just get one lap in before like you give a team a chance to screw you over with a red flag.
Alex, just say it. Ferrari gonna be Ferrari. Yeah, Carlos Sainz does as best as he can. Comments that they're using his DRS trick against him, which was funny.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming home in seventh is George Russell. After he realized quickly he probably wasn't going to get past Hamilton, he asked to stay on a one-stop strategy. He was probably projected for seventh. At that time, Lewis was sixth. The strategy did not work. He got hammered. Those tires were too old. But no harm, no foul, right? He finished right where he was going to, anyways. So, not much we can say there. Alonso with strategy call that he was not happy with, starting on the softs, finishes eighth. Man, the shocker is the Alpines in ninth and 10th, and with a little bit of drama there as well. Um, Esteban Ocon in ninth, which I think it's overlooked that he pitted on lap one with a puncture. So he pits in lap one, puts on, goes from a medium to a hard. So he runs two hards the rest of the day, which was good for a track with this much high deg. And, Pierre Gasly's in 10th. Shenanigans comes down at the end. Gasly asks to get past Esteban to see if he can go and chase down and pass Fernando. He can't.
Mhm.
They switch it back. Pierre's mad. I don't know why
On the
Pierre's
last
mad.
lap.
Do you think? Do you
Uh,
think? Who do you
so
think's
so from
right?
what I so from what I understood from the whole situation, I think it was the entire team failed. It was a giant miscommunication. So the race engineers from both pretty much told the drivers two separate things. They knew they were going to swap the car for Pierre to try to track down Alonso for that extra spot up the grid, and Pierre was told we're going to swap the cars back, and we'll discuss in the future what's going to happen afterwards if you can't catch Alonso. Where Ocon was told we're going to swap the cars back. If he can't catch Alonso, we're going to swap him again, and you're going to get that point. I also think they said there's a rule, or Esteban said there's like a rule where like that they have between the teams or something where it's like they do know if you can't catch a ride driver, then they're just going to swap the positions back, which I think is stupid. Like at the end of the day, this is racing. If you're the faster car, if you want to. I think team orders kind of ruins F1 at times. I do understand at times like letting it happen, like in certain scenarios because you want the faster driver to go catch somebody if you can. But in a scenario like what happened with Pierre, I think it's ridiculous. Like Pierre was obviously the faster driver. He's gonna chase. He's the best chance of you chasing down some extra points. Swapping at the end just like pisses off the drivers. You have egos to protect. Realistically, like it doesn't make that much of a difference. It's just a 1 point difference. But I understand both. I guess I'm trying to understand like both perspectives. I think it's a giant miscommunication on Alpine's part for the most part.
Yeah, and that's tough when tensions are that high. You need to
They
be
don't like each other.
clear with your
They do not,
communication.
and I know they don't like each other. I know Gasly and Ocon have never liked each other. It's been
Yeah,
a thing since like the karting days.
yeah. There's some off track drama between them too. You're right, which makes things even worse. If you know, um,
It's just so funny. It's a French team, two French drivers, and they can't stand each other.
yeah, it's like you're right. It's on paper, it's like perfect. It's like a match made in heaven. But they just can't. They just can't get it along there. Um, Man, P11, Liam Lawson, again, I think they had bad strategy calls during the race. I don't think starting off on the soft was the right tire. I think they at one point pitted Yuki first and he undercut Liam. And then they pitted Liam first and next and he undercut Yuki. And they were close for a while. Liam was holding off
Yeah,
Yuki. I think the race engineer was given instructions on kind of how to hold him off. But you got Liam with another impressive race in 11th and then Yuki in 12th. Um, I think that's probably the best AlphaTauri could get out of the weekend, if not maybe one spot more, but
mhm.
um, not a bad showing from them.
Not at all.
So 11-12, Joe Guan Yu finishes 13th, Nico Hulkenberg finishes 14th, K Mag finishes 15th. And then, part of the reason too, Esteban is able to pit first lap and come back to his spot. You have Albon DNF, Sargent DNF, Stroll DNF, Sergio Perez DNF, and Valtteri Bottas DNF. So it's kind of the war of
Person.
surviving here at this race. When you get 5 cars DNF, that's some old school racing right there for sure. So um, that's pretty much it all I got for the race. You got anything else?
I feel like I'm forgetting something that I wanted to talk about. But I think that's it. Yeah, that I can think of.
All right. Some post race stuff I got. Some stats came out. Oscar, first driver to finish on the podium in his rookie season since Alex's boy Lance Stroll did it in 2017. Um, Apparently, Oscar was the first rookie to lead laps in, I think they said like 10 years. Um,
Something crazy like that. Yeah.
so it just got me thinking. I mean, this has to be one of the best cars that a rookie has been given in a very long time. Agree? Disagree?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Right behind, I guess you could say Lewis and McLaren.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about it. You got, GR came into a Williams. Um,
Hmm.
Max, Carlos came into
Toro Rosso,
yep, Toro Rosso. Charles comes into essentially what was Alfa
Alfa
Romeo.
Romero.
Yep.
What were they
So
called at the time?
Ocon
What?
came into Sauber for a few races, and then Force India, which was
Hmm.
pretty good in his rookie season. I'm watching that right now in his full rookie season, 2017. Esteban did a really great job, but it wasn't a top tier car.
Yeah,
Um,
him and that was another one. Him and Checo did not get along.
yeah,
Esteban just likes pissing people off.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think a lot of that was Checo's fault. I
I don't know. I don't know too much of the drama there. I just know they didn't like each other.
Yeah, the on track stuff really looked like Checo was not playing team games. They referenced maybe Checo had something in his contract that said like he's number one driver, and that is what it is. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I just don't think a rookie has been in a car that well, like you said, since.
Well, didn't Max eventually in his rookie year technically go to Red Bull?
No, I think he did one full year in Toro Rosso, and
He did
then
1 year.
it was a
Okay.
couple races into the next season that he got the Red Bull seat
Okay.
from Kvyat. So yeah,
Yeah, he took more than just that Red Bull seat.
yes, sir. Oh man, oh dude, you. So because you go back and watch those old races, you know how sometimes they show the girlfriends in the garage.
Yeah.
It's so awkward now. Like when I go back and watch and they show, yeah, yeah. Anyways, Mister Steal Yo Girl in car. Anyways, and then last but not least, man, sometimes Max is like the most
He-
boring guy in the whole entire world.
that is, he really does have a dull personality.
Bro,
I
this
mean, like,
whole thing with the podcast, like, it's just a
so
joke.
stupid.
I don't even like podcasts. I don't know where it came from. I just fall asleep. Bro, it's more of a joke that you're there every
The
single
host of a
race in the cool
podcast.
down
Yeah.
room. It's like it doesn't mean anything. He commented twice that he thought it was stupid. I'm like, bro, just why? Just chill
Yeah.
out.
I just think, I know, honestly, I think it's like, with, at least between you and me, or not you and me, but like American fans in general, I feel like it's just a giant culture difference. And that's why we can't see, like,
Yeah.
Danish, because Danish people seem to take, like, it seems like they take it very, very serious, like their entire life. They take it very serious, but we're like a little more laid back in America for the most part. Or, no, I mean, not say laid back, I think that's not the right words, but less high strung, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
I couldn't figure out if it
but,
was culture or if this is what makes the greats great is that they have no fun in life. Like I just like, bro, it's not
no, I
that big
mean,
of a
like,
deal.
even, I mean, Michael had some, he was funny at times, and even, Senna, I guess Senna was a little more serious. Yeah, Senna was definitely a little more serious. Lewis obviously is like he's just made for social media and like this era to just be
Yeah.
outgoing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah, I don't know. Max
Yeah.
is a strange person.
I'm glad you knew exactly what I was talking about before I finished, right?
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
podcast, yeah, hundred
Yeah,
percent.
yeah. I like that because we both think that.
I saw a Red Bull. A Red Bull like fan made account was like, "We'd like to apologize on behalf of our host of our podcast." So I thought it was hilarious.
Oh man, I love it. All right, so let's go over the drivers' points here real quick. Um, Man, in first place by a country mile is Max Verstappen with 400 points. I
He can
believe that this
clinch the
man can,
championship with a win in the sprint race next race.
which is crazy. If you're like a diehard old school Formula One fan, he can clinch
These
the
boys
championship on a Saturday, not even a Sunday, um, which
are
is nuts.
ridiculous.
So Max Verstappen in first with 400 points. In second, Sergio Perez with 223. In third, Lewis Hamilton with 190. So he is, what is that, 33 points behind Sergio. With 6 races to go, that's not impossible,
It's
especially
no, that's
Sergio's
definitely
form.
possible.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. It'd be Lewis's second time finishing second in points behind Max if he can pull it off. Um, on paper in the books, at least in the history books. In fourth there, Fernando Alonso
Dude,
again.
there's 130 point difference. Like, come on.
Yes, it is. It's a little bit insane there. With 174, not far ahead of Carlos Sainz with 150 in fifth. 24 points
That's
that can
definitely.
be absolutely made up quickly.
George is
Uh,
another one that kind of has to start getting his stuff together for Mercedes to hold down that P2.
oh yeah, yeah. Leclerc is in sixth with 135. Uh,
Like Lando overtook him so easy.
yeah,
Jesus,
yeah.
Lando's
Well,
on a
they're tied.
tear right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah,
They're tied at 115. I believe Lando's probably second place finishes that George doesn't have, puts him ahead. I am going to try to do something right here real quick because Alex is frozen on my screen.
am I?
Alex, why don't you hop off and come back in real quick?
All right.
So we're losing Alex for hopefully just a quick second here. This was one of our new slides, the driver's point slide, because I feel like what was happening is I was just reading them off. You guys weren't able to see them at all, and it was a little bit chaotic. So, um, yeah, new slide here. Alex will be back in a quick second, but yeah, like Alex said, Lando came up to George, and even though they're tied, he is ahead. Passed them in the point standings pretty quickly. So it's pretty crazy to see. Hello, you there?
Yeah.
Nice. All right, Alex is back. All good. Um, so let's continue. In ninth place, Oscar Piastri running up the leaderboard as well with that McLaren. Jumps ahead of Lance Stroll with 47 points in 10th. Pierre Gasly,
Just want
not
to
far
stick
behind,
there.
not sleeping behind Lance Stroll, 1 point behind. So you would have one of your drivers in fourth place in points. You can have another in potentially 11th. A 7 place difference in points, which is
He
crazy.
might fall on 12th because
Yeah,
Esteban could overtake that too.
absolutely. Ocon sitting there in
That's crazy.
12th with 38 points. Albon in 13th with 21. Nico, 9 points. Valtteri with 6 points. Joe Guan Yu with 4. Yuki 3. K Mag 3. Lawson 2. And Sargent with the big goose egg. So that is our driver's point standings. And then transferring over into our constructors' points here, we have Red Bull out in first with 623 points. Mercedes is in second with 305. Do not forget that Max Verstappen alone has 400 points, so he would be outscoring Mercedes right now. That is why I thought it was a little funny because I thought they were going to get Sergio out to do a victory lap with Verstappen, and then I kind of thought to myself, well, I mean, Max would have won this championship by himself, so doesn't matter.
That's
Mercedes in
insane.
second with 305. Ferrari in third with 285, so 20-point difference. Me and Alex have both been pretty vocal that Mercedes could lose this second place here with a couple more bad runs. Um, in my opinion, they're kind of locked into second and third. I don't, that is, in my opinion, where they're going to finish.
Yeah, they'll finish
Ast-
second, third.
yeah, Aston Martin fourth with McLaren in fifth. McLaren is that math is 49 points behind, I believe. I'm almost positive. Um,
That's gonna be a close one towards the season.
Absolutely going to be a close one, and Aston Martin needs to get their stuff together. I'm they again. They're locked in probably for 4 and 5 as of right now, unless some crazy stuff
I think it's gonna
happens.
be funny. It's literally and so potentially P3 Mercedes, P4 McLaren Mercedes, P5 Aston Martin Mercedes.
Yep.
Then you go to P7 Williams Mercedes.
Yeah, it's nuts. As I was, I had to make this graphic today, and as I was typing it out, I was like, I'm writing the word Mercedes a lot in here. Um, yes, it's funny. Yeah, I'm glad you noticed that too. Alpine in sixth with 84, Williams in seventh with 21, all Alex Albon. Haas in eighth with 12, Alfa Romeo with 10, and then Alfa Tori with 5. So we'll see if Danny Rick can put some pressure on Alpha. I mean, 8, 9, and 10 are all pretty close. 7 points separates them. So, maybe Danny Rick and Yuki can have a good weekend and change all that up. So that is our constructors. That is our new slides that took me way too long to make today, but I think the slides are going to be good. So I'm not just reading off numbers to you guys, and you're not able to see anything. So listen, we're trying slowly but surely to upgrade the show, and then I know what you guys are all waiting for: our prediction results for the week. Um,
I did not do too hot.
Alex, let me know when it's up on your screen there, bud.
Alrighty.
Alex has got this slight delay, but he'll see it here in a second. It was a pretty close week, not as bad as Alex thinks. Um,
Sorry. I
no,
don't know
you're
why.
good.
All right, there we go. We're good. All
Awesome.
right.
Yep. So not as bad as Alex thinks. Alex scored 5 points this week. I only scored seven. So that is a 2 point difference with 6 races to go. He has a 16 point lead. So if he keeps that up, he'll be in good shape. Top five was Max, Lando, Oscar, Charles, Lewis. Alex picked Charles to win as a comeback race from Singapore. He picked Max second, Carlos third, George fourth. Neither one of those were in the top five. But he coincidentally got Lewis right in fifth. So that was big for 3 points for Lewis. And then a point for Max and Charles gave him five. I myself picked Max to win, trying to get back in this game. I was high on Lewis, who did not finish second but finished in the top five. Carlos didn't finish top five. Lando finished in the top five. And then I left it up to you guys, a.k.a. my dad picked Sergio over Oscar. That ended up not being the right pick. But 7-5, pretty close here, Alex. What do you think?
Yeah, I did not do as bad as I thought. I forgot I put Lewis at 5. I thought I had him at 4. But yeah, going forward, I'm gonna start riding the Lewis train over George.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely. That's what I would do. But are you ready for this?
Let's hear it.
Okay, so I have potentially. Why is this doing this? Give me 1 second here. I'm sorry. Pulling up some stuff from last week. Um, Pulling up some stuff from last week because there's some interesting things that happened in our chat. We appreciate you guys. All right, are you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mick picked, which we thought might look good for a second there. Lando, Max,
Lando.
Charles, Perez, and Sights. Our graphic designer picked Max, Lewis, Lando, Sergio, and Oscar. So our graphic designer Ryan would have gotten 5, 6, 7. Ryan, you would have gotten 8 points. You would have outscored both of us. Max in first would have given him 5. Lewis would have given him 1. Lando would have given him 1. And Oscar would have given him 1. So, Alex, we got outpicked by
Kenny
Ryan.
Baggs, biggest fan.
Yeah, I know. So, this is why I think guest pickers, if we do it next year, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be real fun.
It's funny because before I got on the show, Anthony texted me and he's like, "Can I go do a guest cameo, or whatever?" I was like, "It's too late for that now." He literally texted me like a minute before I get on the show, and
Um,
I haven't told him yet. That we might be using him next year for a guest picker.
yeah, definitely. Does he want? I mean, if he just wants to come on and talk some racing, he can. I just did some work on our not like crazy work, but I just. Oh man, Ryan's talking about making his own show with my boy Mick. I kind of fixed our 3 people setup too. So, I mean, listen, if he wants to come on, more than welcome
I'll
to.
talk to him, see what
Yeah,
he can do. It's just tough because he's got 3 kids.
he's out on the West Coast
Yeah.
too, right?
No, he's actually in what to say, one of the Carolinas. I think it's north.
Oh, all right. So yeah, he's in our time zone. We could make it work for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, so next Monday we're gonna be back 5:30 to discuss. Get ready for the race at Qatar. I was messing it up last week. I texted Alex. I was ashamed of myself. We have 6 races left. They are now Qatar, Texas,
Austin,
Mexico, Brazil, Vegas, and Abu Dhabi. So that's so exciting that there's 6 races left, man.
And again, the logistics of that make no sense.
Yeah, no sense whatsoever.
So
But
go good.
we're there anyways. Yeah, listen, we enjoyed having you guys type out your prediction picks in chat last week. I was definitely excited to go back into our stream from last week and look at those, and can't believe Ryan was right. Picks for tonight. I don't even know what tonight is. I know there's football. Oh, because are the Eagles playing tonight?
Oh,
Is
it's
that why?
Monday night.
Is
I
the
don't know what the Monday night games are.
It might be Eagles Tampa Bay. I don't know. That's what he wants. How did
I
you
know
do?
Tampa's playing.
How'd you do in fantasy this week?
I won 1 of my 4. No,
Okay,
wait, I lied. I won 2 of my 4.
What about
2 of my 5. Sorry, 2 of my 5.
What about our league?
The one with Rye, I think I won that one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I won that one, so I got my first one in that one. I won my best ball one, and then I lost in Greg's. I lost in I lost in my dynasty one, and I lost in another one. Yeah, I'm not doing too good in fantasy. Cooper Cup is really fucking me. I
Yeah,
need that dude to hurry up and come back.
yeah. The Rams need him desperately. Uh,
Yeah,
is is Ant in our league with Ryan, who wants to be on the show?
yeah, he is.
I
He's
think I think I'm gonna take the dub over him tonight, unless he has got a couple of receivers, unless they pop off big time. Um,
Eagles Bucks. What's the spread?
I'm taking
Finances
Eagles.
that.
I'm taking
I just want to
Eagles
see what the
money
spread
line.
is.
I'm taking Eagles money line.
Oh,
And
Rams. I knew there was two. Okay, so it is Rams. Ooh,
what do we think of Rams Bengals?
uh,
Bengals not looking so hot to start off the season.
I think Joe Mixon might have a monster game.
Ooh, okay.
I think that Rams Bengals game is a really good one actually, because Joe Burrow is definitely hurting. Definitely gonna take the Eagles money line if I'm being that, but I want to see what the point spread is to see like determine if they cover or not. The Bengals Rams. Wow.
Did the Panthers win yesterday?
No, we lost by 10.
Oh, you
Um,
guys looked okay in the beginning.
we're just not a good team. I had us winning, I think 4 or 5 games this year when I looked at our schedule.
You've already
Um,
bumped it down, haven't you?
yeah, it's definitely. I'm looking at like 2 or 3 at this point, unless
Yeah.
like some drastic injuries happen. Our O line looks really, really bad. It looks like they digressed from last year.
Yeah.
Um, our offensive weapons are bad, and even though Panthers fans might say otherwise, Adam Thielen is not a great. He's not a wide receiver one.
No,
I know he had a good
absolutely,
game,
absolutely not.
but he had a good game. But let's not pretend like the same. Like I'm sorry, the Seahawks didn't have like everyone and their mother injured. Um, Oh yeah, we're just not a good team. We're just not. Panthers fans need to stop being delusional, thinking that it was going to be a plug and play with Bryce Young. We need to fix our O line. That's the problem with Carolina for the last like decade. They refuse to address the O line. Like even when Cam was there, that O line was not good.
Yeah, why have no line though when your quarterback is just getting hurt every play? What's the? Why does that matter?
Eagles 5.5. Oof.
Bucks at
I
home
don't know if
too.
they. I don't know if the Eagles are going to cover that. I think the Bucks defense is better than people give them credit for. I think the Eagles are winning. I think the Bucks are going to cover that though.
All right, I like it. I like it. There's our football picks for tonight too. Alex, what
Only
else you
because
got?
their defense is really good.
What else you got for the people? Anything, bud?
Bengals -3. Joe Burrow looks like he will play. Joe Burrow is going to play, but that calf injury is definitely not going to look good for him. I think the Rams are gonna. I think Rams are gonna win that game. To
Wow,
be
so
honest.
Rams covering and hitting the money line.
Yeah.
You heard it here first from Alex. I like it. All right, well, hey, we're back next Monday. I get to go see Carter, put him to bed right now. Man, I think that's
How
all
was the
that.
weekend with Carter? I saw you did was it like a golf thing you did with him? What did you do over the weekend with him?
What did we do with Carter this weekend?
I don't know. You had him in the pictures with Carter. You and Brooke put up pictures, and
Hmm.
he said it was Carter's first time doing so and so, and he did a great job. Forgot what it was.
Yeah, me too. I don't know what we did because of the rain. I don't feel like we did much. That might have been last week.
Oh,
Um,
maybe it was last week. Then I just
yeah,
forgot.
we went to
Sorry.
polo match last week. That was his first. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, with the rain, I think we kind of just chilled in this week. It was plus,
Oh,
dude, it
Durham
was
Fair.
tough. No Durham Fair because the rain. We were gonna go Saturday, but the rain really never showed up. I mean, dude,
Mm-hmm.
I was up from like 1 to 4
Oh, that's
Sunday
fair. That's
morning.
fair. Fair. Yeah.
1 to 4, a few hours sleep.
Nice.
I took a nap, and then I was up till 11:30 because the Steelers played the Sunday night game. So yeah, that's where we were.
Rough, rough,
Yeah,
rough night for you.
I'm just looking for some 1 o'clock football games, some 9 a.m. races. Like I just need some normal stuff
Good
here.
luck, man. Welcome to adulthood, especially with you volunteering. Like your
No,
schedule's gonna be crazy for Sundays
no, that's fine. I just need. I like listen. I used to
because
live
there's
for.
Sunday morning games, right?
Yeah, well, like
Yeah. So
11.
you're gonna be like watching the race and trying to coach at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I give my phone to Brooke, so I don't go on Facebook, so it's all live for me when I get home. Yeah, I just need non primetime Steelers and non Japan races. When is yeah, we'll discuss next week. I don't even know. Is Qatar probably gonna be all messed up too?
I don't know how
I mean
far
they're in the
they're. I
same
don't know.
region, no?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's because that's Southeast Asia.
We should never
I don't know.
discuss regions. We
Yeah,
are the
let's
worst.
not pretend like we won.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not pretend like we have any idea. Our geography, well, my geography, I can say is absolute dog shit.
No, I'm right there with you. Well, yeah, I couldn't tell you. You know, it's yeah. We might listen if we do this stream in person next year. Maybe our backdrop will be a map, and we'll pin all the races.
No,
So
no. We should guess. We should guess.
we
We
should
should
guess.
get like the we yeah. We should pin
We'll get
location that we think it's in,
so
and then we
we'll get a
Google it, and
yeah
we'll
we'll
get
get
the
a
actual
blank map.
location.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get a blank map. Be like, all right, here's where I think this is, and then it's like not even close.
My, I'm pinning Miami in California.
Our country too. We messed that up. Oh yeah, you're right. CJ, the Wallingford Vikings did win. Yep.
Sweet.
Good stuff. All right, brother. Well, hey, it's been a good stream. And yeah, I will see you next week.
Sounds good. Yes,
I
sir.
I don't even know. I don't know how to end the show. I put so much into my beginning that I just like now the energy's low to end it. Next week I'll work on my exit. Tell Ant I'm sorry. I'll work on my exit next week. Okay, you like that intro? Hey,
he might have been watching. I messaged him on Discord to see if you could catch a live show. So he might have saw your fake YouTube intro.
First of all, if he watches and doesn't get in the chat, I don't even think he subscribes to the channel either.
Bro, he
We're
can't
upset.
read.
Well, listen, tell him this. Tell him, guys, hit that like and subscribe button. We need it desperately. We're probably gonna get DMCA'd too because I played like 15 seconds of that song.
Wait, I thought that was like a random like YouTube song you just found.
No, you don't. That was the Six Flags theme song.
Oh yeah.
So probably gonna get DMCA'd for our show that has 4 viewers. And also, why don't you guys just text? Why do you guys Discord?
We do just text, but I was on my computer and I'm using my phone for this, so I didn't want to stop in the middle of the show to text him. And he was
gotcha.
on. I could see he was online on Discord, so I messaged him to Discord.
Oh, all right. No, that makes perfect sense. All right. Well, Ant, if you're watching, hit that like and subscribe, and get in the chat next week. Jeez, if you're gonna be a guest picker, you at least gotta be subscribed. That might be the one stipulation for guest pickers. They gotta be subscribed.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Now I'm really getting off. Adios, there,
All
brother.
right.
Take care.
Deuces.